This video will cover the November-December LD topic for 2024, which is resolved. The United States ought to adopt a wealth tax. So, starting off with some definitions. The United States refers to the United States federal government, who is the one actor that is going to carry out the resolution. The second word is ought, which denotes a moral obligation. The third word is adopt, which is take into effect or implement. In this case, they are going to be implementing a wealth tax. And the last definition is the wealth tax, which is the tax on an entity's holdings of assets or an entity's net worth. A difference between a wealth tax and an income tax is that income tax is solely the amount of money that you're directly and materially getting. However, a wealth tax is a tax on your financial holdings despite it not actually being material money. For example, a wealth tax would target your stock market investments and say that your holdings or investments that you haven't cashed in yet are also taxable. And those things are called unliquidated financial assets, or assets that haven't necessarily been calculated as material wealth, but it's still a form of symbolic wealth. So now let's talk about affirmative ground. The first contention idea that came to mind is inequality. If you tax the wealthy based on their net worth, as well as their investment, and also the loans and the different financial holdings that they currently have, that would decrease income inequality between the poor and the rich. That would not only increase social trust, but it would also boost cohesion. When more people believe that the government is actively taking steps to decrease inequality, they would trust the government more. And the reason why social trust even matters is that if no one trusts the government isn't going to be able to pass legislation, and everything that the government does is going to be either a site of protest or even criticism. And so in order for the United States to be overall a better democracy, they need to increase social trust as well as the amount of trust that exists between the people and the government. And decreasing inequality is a great way to do that. And that leads us directly into the second contention idea, which is poverty. If you increase the number of taxes, that would significantly raise government revenue for key programs like Social Security and Medicare, which are all programs that are directly carried out by the United States federal government. And so once you redistribute the wealth between the wealthy to the poor, that would increase resources, both in terms of Social Security and Medicare, so that more people have access to more high quality savings. And at the same time, it would decrease the debt for those programs, meaning that they're going to be more high quality as well as more easy to implement, as opposed to when they're riddled with debt and it's hard to pass existing or expansions in those programs. But now let's talk about negative ground. The first negative contention idea is capital flight. This contention idea is going to be a very big source of debate because the argument is that once you have a wealth tax, big businesses and huge corporations would just leave the United States due to a wealth tax. And a country that has implemented a wealth tax like Norway proved that once you tax the amount of investment in the symbolic financial holdings that aren't liquidated yet on specific individuals, they would just leave the country. And the wealthy know that if they continue to live in that country, they're just going to have more of their wealth just continually taxed. So it's a better financial option for them to leave the country. But the worry and the fear with capital flight is that if big businesses and corporations, as well as rich entrepreneurs, just leave the country, it would weaken the US economy, because now all these corporations like Tesla or even Amazon might leave the United States, which harms the United States' domestic economy as well as the GDP, or the gross domestic product. The second negative contention idea is innovation and investment. It's somewhat similar to capital flight, but if you have a wealth tax, it would deter individuals from investing in companies such as stocks or even bonds, because of the tax on unrealized capital gains. That would ultimately hinder economic growth because everyone is deterred from spending money into the economy and just overall investing. But because the majority of companies need investment in order for them to survive, for example, big businesses and even small businesses, they would all need some sort of investment. So overall, it would hamper the US economy.